Hello, this is Warpath 1985 speaking, and in this unique and special review style I'll be doing for this Thanksgiving special review, I was introducing the Masters Universe Origins Castle Grayskull. Now, if you're not particularly aware, Castle Grayskull is basically the centerpiece of most people's collections when it comes to Masters of the Universe, other than the Eternity plays that we can see like a little bit here, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. Besides that, Castle Grayskull was the big centerpiece for the early waves of the Origins storyline, and also the earlier waves, or was the first wave of the original line back in 1982. Of course, there are some qualms to this. I believe it's 1982 or it's 1981. Kind of blurs the line there, because I believe, or Master Universe came out in 1981, I believe, and they also came out in 1982 in other places of the world. Besides that, Castle Grayskull is basically just iconic. It is an iconic playset, and it is basically what is basically needed for any Master Universe collector. If you don't have a Castle Grayskull, you don't really have a Master Universe collection, technically. Similar to, if you don't have He-Man, then once you have Skeletor, and who's He-Man that we need to fight? In this case, you don't have Castle Grayskull, then where you put all your figures? Or that was like the thought process of early waves, mostly. In both the original 2000X classics and especially Origins. But now we have like so many playsets, we just need like a lot more figures to fill them out, which we do, because I believe recall correctly there's like 150 plus figures now in Origins, which is crazy. And we that's not really counting for crossover figures like Masters of the WWE Universe, WWE Superstars, and Turtles of Grayskull, just Stranger Things, and what was the other one? There's like one more. There's like Turtles of Grayskull, and that's about it, I believe. Besides that, that basically just means that you have a lot more figures to just fit in here, and also other playsets. The interesting part, besides that, is that Castle Grayskull is the only playset in, I believe, most toy lines, especially now, since most toy lines, or modern day toy lines, don't really make playsets anymore, either due to companies themselves not just refusing, not because retailers, etc., can take them in, or it's so expensive they just can't produce it. They can. Hasbro's a really big example of that, where it'd be like tiny class figures, but they can't make a G.I. headquarters or any set or playset for the retro collection was still coming out in the 3/4 inch scale, or almost 1/18 scale. That in that sense, basically. But besides that, Castle Grayskull is the only playset that actually has add-ons and is continuously getting more like add-ons to it, which is crazy. The most recent one was obviously the Castle Grayskull Tower of the Eternia playset, and the first one is kind of strange, and that being the road connector piece and the Secrets of Castle Grayskull, because those two were released simultaneously around the same time. Because I recall correctly, during PowerCon 2021, both the Secrets of Castle Grayskull and this general 2-pack of Valor He-Man and the Battle Cat were available at the general venue, or were kind of ish, but most of them were sold out by then, which is kind of a big reason why, even though I went to the event and was there, I was able to get it and sign like the one piece I'm missing from that general, most of the add-ons to Castle Grayskull, which sucks, because that set came with the spacesuit, which was one of the more iconic sticker pieces of the original Castle Grayskull, which I'll get to that a little later. Even though I don't have it, I will be talking about later. It's more interesting. It also comes with the Ghost of King Grayskull, which I do have King Grayskull from the Eternia playset. Seen here, this is the Revelations version. I believe they might be making like a 2000X version, or even like a normal version. Not sure, but maybe they might do it. It just depends. And in general, I believe another piece was the extended dungeon, which is basically more meant for the trapdoor, but also mainly for Frogmonger, who would have been like would have released I believe 2 years later in 2023, which I didn't get him in time before he sold out because I actually had a meeting on the day of his release, which sucked, but whatever. Besides that, the road piece in general just it can be used as a connector to Castle Grayskull and the Eternity playset Castle Grayskull Tower module. The only problem with it is that it does require you to remove the module from the Eternity playset main module, or the line module that is, for it to basically kind of work. You basically just have to just slot it in there, and like so, it just works like that. Pretty simple. I much prefer this other than the original, because sadly the Eternity playset gets rid of that original road piece or connector piece to the Castle Grayskull itself. But I prefer it more because unlike that road piece, where it requires you to have the drawbridge to basically be opened, like so. Look at that layer of papers, but it's mostly just for example. Basically, I have the road piece connected here, like that. The one problem is that I found it to be kind of really dumb because that required you to basically have Castle Grayskull open all the time, which is fine from a collector standpoint, because you might have like Castle Grayskull open up all the time for display reasons. Problem with that is it just kind of looks funky and doesn't really work that well. So yeah, it doesn't really work in my personal opinion. Besides that, other modules that are related to Castle Grayskull is a vintage one that was available in the Witch's toy line, which was Point Dread. The Point Dread came with the Talon Fighter. This is kind of a minor bit here, because I'm not going to read the Talon Fighter now for this review, because it'd be too much. I will be doing a sub review for the Talon Fighter, because it's a lot more interesting, to say the least. Besides that, Talon Fighter has Point Dread, just general base or communications area, and a Point Dread tower bit, and then finally the Talon Fighter itself with the perch and everything. Similar to the original one, and a lot better in my personal opinion, because it doesn't really require you to worry about anything. You just remove it from the base and simply remove any sort of accessory that's on this tower here, like so, and connect it to the tower, almost tall tower. And finally, Point Dread is now connected to Castle Grayskull, which is cool. The only problem with it is that it kind of looks a little bit funky, because similar to the Eternity playset module, the problem with it is that it basically it just doesn't really work with the colorization of Castle Grayskull, which is the same problem with which I have with the Eternity playset Castle Grayskull Tower module, where it just kind of doesn't really work that well. But can be argued is that one gets used a lot less and the other one does, and that means it just retains the original color, which is I don't know. In general, that argument is kind of like baseless in general, not very good. It's just I wish they would put a lot more effort into matching the exact colors. Because again, it's the same colorization when it comes to base plastic as seen here in the rear. It's just that it just really doesn't really work in the front with all the paint. Which, because again, it just doesn't really work. Which sucks, because it more or less works with the original one, which had a lot more paint, because this kind of like the new original version excludes most of the paint, so they focus more on the budget of everything else, which is awesome. We'll get it later when it comes to budget of this thing, because a lot of stuff was omitted because of budgetary reasons, but whatever. Again, it is a shame. The other modules I'll be discussing a little bit later, because they more or less relate to the eternal bits of the Eternity but the Castle Grayskull by itself. I will be doing some comparisons since most of the stuff is here for doing that. I already did Castle Grayskull, the module. Here's a comparison with the Tornado Playset, which I have here on my table, because it is ginormous. But this is the main Tornado Playset module. And as you can see, it is absolutely ginormous. It completely towers over Castle Grayskull, which is impressive because this is already much larger than the original one. Because most of the playsets of the newer Masters Origins toy line, such as previous mentioned Point Dread, the Tornado Playset, and especially Castle Grayskull and Snake Mountain, are basically significantly just upscaled, almost just a little bit, basically. Which is cool, but also somewhat problematic, because this means that it's much more of a shelf hog than it was before. It is most certainly a awesome thing, to describe it. Another comparison I will be doing with it, besides it, would be the Snake Tower of the Tornado Playset. Once again, it's completely dwarfs the Castle Grayskull playset. The only thing that is kind of like a lot more different is that weight-wise, the Castle Grayskull is a lot heavier than the Snake Mountain, not Snake Mountain, the Snake Tower module, which makes sense because this has a lot more stuff in general, a lot more plastic, unlike this one, which is, yes, a lot when it comes to play value and in general plastic-wise, etc. It is still dwarfed by the much more hefty and beefy Castle Grayskull. Besides that, oh, I just hit my camera. Besides that, the accessories that it does come with, or more the accessories that come with the Castle Grayskull playset, are numerous, to say the least. You do get the turret, which is a lot more, basically to describe it, better than the original. It's a lot more filled out, it has a lot more details, etc. I think I'm focused in. It's a lot harder from this angle. But yeah, it's just a lot better looking. Obviously, a figure can be fitted onto it. I'll just be using my standard first edition He-Man for this. But yeah, pretty cool. Another accessory is the flagpole, which we move the camera upwards for it. Similar to the original one, and I believe other playsets, you can have it be the, like it's being, what's the word for it? It's being controlled by the good guys. It has the hero's flag on, and you rotate it around. It has the villain's flag, like, or more or less, and implying that, oh, Skeletor is taking Castle Grayskull control. It's a neat play feature. I've been focused in. It's kind of hard from this, again, angle. But yeah, it's a really neat feature. And again, the flagpole and the turret can be moved, which is good because that means you can have the turret in the place where you can fit it, like it's pointing more sticking out of the Point Dread playset, kind of like this. You might have seen it in my photography, more thumbnail of the video, but yeah, it's cool. One problem with it is that it can't be really plugged in all the way because the Point Dread is also upscaled, and that basically means that it just doesn't really fit that well, like, unlike the original one, which is whatever. It's a thing. Besides that, the flagpole is very nicely detailed when it comes to its just in general looks. And the flagpole, similar to the Tornado playset, it just does its job, as it also falls to the floor. And other accessories are the weapon stands, which there are two. Similar to the original one, get like a large weapon stand which will fit like a lot of different accessories. But in this case, they excluded most of the weapons of the original playsets, which is okay, because it means that, oh, you get more play features next to, not play features, but more just stuff here. A bigger playset that's kind of safer to handle than the original one. It's a decent trade-off. Besides that, you can fit most of the accessories into this playset, but most is a weapon stand here, which is cool, but it also means that the other weapon stand is completely useless. Virtually useless, compared to the large weapon stand, which is a problem, but it just happens, I guess. But again, it's a lot more filled out than the original one, and because it's general better. I believe I do have an example of the original one, but somewhere in storage. Not really sure. Because although I may not have the original Master Universe playset, I do have some of its accessories. Because of reasons. Besides that, you can fit the other smaller accessories to the small weapon stand, which is again a lot more filled out and in general better than the original one. In this case, it's supposed to be Zoar? Since Zoar is basically just a sorceress, but transformed because sorceresses can't really hold her form outside of Grayskull, so she has to turn to Zoar. And in this case, it's Zoar, but it's a weapon stand. Confusing, yes, but ultimately makes sense if you know your Master Universe lore, or just see the Filmation cartoon. Let's see if this focuses. Can it? Yes, I can. Okay. So this is the training stand. Works pretty much the same as the original one. The only thing with it that's pretty much very apparent, it's completely filled out and not one-dimensional. Sorry, two-dimensional compared to the original one, which is pretty cool. The only second part is that it's kind of redundant, since most Master Universe figures nowadays do not have the spring-loaded punch gimmick of the original ones, which sucks, but it's better because you get more articulation from the figures, which is, again, the trade-offs of Origins where, like, yes, you get more articulation, but you lose all the play value. Similar to, like, most of the not Snakeman, but more or less any character with the extendable neck type of accessory, or just extended, like, limbs accessories. The only one that still retains that would be Extendar, but that's a entirely different discussion for another day. Yes, it discussed it earlier on the channel. I reviewed the two. That's mostly it when it comes to the main accessories. You obviously get a bunch of weapons here and there. You get, focus on in there. There you go. You get Scareglow's halberd, or more say halberd that's similar to Scareglow's. Unlike Scareglow's, it is a lot more smoothed out, and I believe it was reused for the Eternian Pass Guard, which is the Eternian Guard, which is pretty cool. Boldly means that it is generic. You have Webster's Blaster, which is pretty cool. Is basically the exact same compared to Webster's. Trying to focus on here. It just has like a port for to plug onto the weapon stand, which is pretty cool. But doesn't mean that you can give to other figures, etc., or even Webster. But that's only if you have Webster, or more the cartridge collection version of Webster, since that figure doesn't actually come with Webster's blaster. Weird. Very, very weird. You have a small sword, which is okay. It's very similar to Tila's sword from the Tila and Zor 2-pack, but it's slightly different. You also get this mace, which is somewhat similar to other figures' maces here and there. But it is, again, slightly different. A final note to this general section is that most of these accessories were obviously reused for, or more repainted or recolored for Wondar, who originally Wondar from the Wizard Online came with a bunch of those Castle Grayskull accessories recolored, which is a cool homage, but again, it's a thing. I almost forgot about this. You get the ladder, which is very neat. It functions the same way as the original ladder. Besides that, that's most of the accessories of the Castle Grayskull playset. Which is pretty cool. There's more stuff to this playset, obviously, because of play features, but I'll get to that a bit later. Because first, I mentioned the main feature, which is the opening door. Obviously, we need either a whole He-Man sword, which is represented by the King Grayskull sword, or the combined power swords from the early versions of, or more, it's the only way to kind of get this general play feature is with the early versions of Skeletor He-Man, because early ways to Skeletor He-Man retaining the original play feature where you combine both of their power swords and you get the whole power sword, and then it can be used to plug into this little slot here to open Castle Grayskull, like so. Oh, sorry, that thing's open it. But yeah, just open it up like so, which is pretty cool. Later versions of the He-Man and Skeletor figures with the more classic heads, with the more vintage heads, will come this power sword here, which is whole, and it does not have the handle for the figures to hold on to because they're supposed to almost hold it in their offhand or almost their open hand, which is pretty cool. The only problem with it is that it does particularly mean that the only way to get those combinable swords, you have to own the original figures, which are readily available from multiple different stores and various outlets here and there, but it just means that you will be missing like a play feature there. Besides that, again, you can use either sword we have available. You can use the much more modern sword I've seen earlier with King Grayskull. Again, we're just the same. Besides that, the other way to open up the playset and just get inside of it is by unlatching these little hooks here, like so. And also I just shut it back here. It's quite nice. And you put the playset here, and voila, Castle Grayskull is now open. Now, this is where the section I like to mention where their modules connect to. Obviously, the Castle Grayskull playset has a bunch of various foot pegs here and there for your figures. Which I'm talking about a figure now because I might as well, but it is technically very important because it's very confusing. Okay, so Sorceress was not available in the first waves of the original Master Universe toy line. She was available during the final couple waves, very late in the toy line, I believe. Or more like it was the middle, can't remember. But in general, we did get like a cartoon version of Sorceress, seen here. Which is pretty cool. She's okay figure. She does uses the much newer thigh pieces. There you go. I'm trying to focus on it there, but it's quite hard. Newer like thigh pieces, which older figures, for example, the She-Ra would use the older thigh pieces where it had much thicker kneecaps. There you go. Later figures, for example, the first figure I believe from the toy line that uses was the Castle Grayskull Dark Castle Grayskull. Can't remember it as I named it, called Sorceress. The Sorceress that was included with Castle Grayskull, but name of it here. Which is same figure compared to the other Sorceress, but in white and has transparent wings. Has the same gimmick where you can flap her wings like so, and she comes with her staff. Again, very nice and very neat figure. We're talking about the protection scheme here because I believe this is my first time talking about a female figure. I don't know, but he has a ball joint. She has ball joint hinged shoulders, elbows, swivel wrist, and actually not hinged wrist. Sorry, a swivel at the waist. It can do a very nice kick back as well. A very nice knee bend, a calf cut, and some mediocre but still okay ankle articulation. And that's about it for comes to the articulation of this figure. The figure can be placed on the various foot pegs here on the Grayskull playset, which there are many of. But also, Grayskull is unique for having multiple people who are technically associated with it, not only with the sorceress, but also previous sorceress and future sorceresses in the lore, but also King Grayskull, which you can have him obviously sit anywhere on the playset, which is cool, but also kind of since he's more or less useful for the Eternia playset. Another figure, which is quite important, would be Zodak. Because you don't know, during the Filmation cartoon, the chair that was in the Grayskull playset was used for Zodak's cosmic chair. Again, super weird, whatever. Another character that's technically associated with this playset would be Green Goddess, who was the same thing with Devilman, where she was supposed to be the original idea for a character, this being the sorceress, but she's still technically canon to it, because the weird part is that Green Goddess was supposed to be Tila, kind of weirdly. Almost Tila is supposed to be the Green Goddess because they both look the same, but also it's kind of supposed to be implied that it will be put on her like a snake armor. She becomes the Green Goddess. It's weird. She's still super like really weird character who kind of doesn't get that much love in the He-Man comics lore, etc. Until like very recently with the Revolution cartoon, where she was finally given a role other than just being the warrior god, whatever. Finally given a role as the personification of the Snake Man, which finally she gets some sort of explanation why she has a snake for her armor. Again, it's cool, it makes sense, but also it's kind of confusing. I believe it might have been confused in like some of the earlier comics done by Classics. As mentioned beforehand, the Master Heroes playset is unique for having multiple places for certain figures here and there. Like I mentioned earlier, Zodak's cosmic chair is based on the chair, more as the throne inside the Eternia playset. Sorry, again, the Cosmic Grayskull playset, which obviously you can have him sit inside the chair, like so. You can also have, obviously, the included sorceress, because there isn't enough space for her wings to, I believe, be able to rest there. I will show that a little later. But first of all, I'll mention to one of the play features, which is the trapdoor, which works as so. Place a singular figure on here, in this case a Skeletor, and twist the chair like so, and release a latch, causing the figure not to fall forward, but to fall into the dungeon, which is a lot harder, is a lot easier than said, because it's hard to balance these earlier figures because they sometimes have really loose joints. Might be due to some weird factory problems, whatever. Fully twisted to the right, the figure will fall down the trapdoor into the dungeon, which is represented by a sticker, or if you have the the Secrets of Casa Grayskull playset, it will be represented by a whole dungeon. Besides that, it is still a awesome feature. And continuing off of the Casa Grayskull, or Secrets of Casa Grayskull exclusive set, you have a spot here for the spacesuit. Since I don't have the set, I obviously can't have the spacesuit be there, but it's something you can have there, basically. Again, I'm mentioning here once more that the sorceress can sit in the throne. It's a little bit more like wonky, because again, the wings just get in the way. but there's like enough clearance for it to work. But it's more or less useful for the previous figure Zodak for him to be there, which makes more sense because again, the cosmic chair was based off the throne in Cosmic Grayskull, so it makes more sense thematically, lore rise, etc. But again, it's a little bit confusing. And then I play first here, which is quite simple, which is the ladder, which can either clip onto these little pegs, more slots here, and it just basically used as a normal ladder. If I can focus, there you go. You gotta figure just climb onto the, if you can work, you gotta figure climb onto the ladder like so, by plugging your hands here. And I'm trying to do it, but it's very thick pegs. Whatever. Basically, you just have a figure just climbing up into the various levels, which are a couple of different ways. There's this area, and there's a second area here, which is pretty cool, which leads up to here, to the flagpole area, technically, or the turret area, or more makes sense, the point tread section of the Cosmic Grayskull playset, or more so you have point tread and teleporter and etc. Other play features there are technically just details like the computer panels here and there, the flags for both the good, the heroes and the villains, more sticker detail here and there as well, and finally the last play feature I'd like to mention before going to more play features, which are kind of more related to modules, etc., which is the elevator. The elevator is interesting to say the least, because it mostly kind of works, but also kind of not. It requires you to perfectly fit a figure with the arms super tucked in, so that they won't clash with any of the edges of this floor of the Cosmic Grayskull playset. And to slowly, mind you, pull the string that has another Zoar pendant or whatever, just upwards. Just very slowly, because if you do too fast, or just do too fast in general, it might knock over the figure, or also cause the figure to move slightly and get caught on one of the edges. In general, it just works kind of like that. It's a very simple play feature, and it does get used, I believe, very similarly to in the Eternity playset, but it more uses a winch system instead of a simple pull system here, which is pretty cool. Also, it can be locked in like so, which is cool, but also means that your little Zora pendant thing will be slightly warped, which is kind of why I just have like permanently on the first floor of the playset. Other things you can do, or not players, just things you can do, which is obviously place the various weapon stands in the playset on the first floor or the second floor if you want to. You can also place the turret or the flagpole on whichever part of the playset, like here and here. And finally, the various foot pegs you can put the figures on, which there aren't that many. Later in editions or playsets will have more foot pegs, but since it's a very early playset, in this first general playset that Origins really did, it doesn't really have that many. It has, most playset has, I believe, where is it? Should we here it is. There's one foot peg here on the elevator. There's a second one here for the spacesuit. There's two here on the throne. There's one on each, like these little panels that connect to like the little turret sections here and there, which obviously all of them can be used by, in this case, the wrong sorceress, the Clued sorceress that include the Cosmic Grayskull playset. With the staff. Yeah. It's a very simple play feature. Have her be there, be here, or stand here. It's a super simple play feature, but ultimately it's very, very cool. Does also add more stability to your figures when it comes to like having them be displayed on the or inside Castle Grayskull, which is awesome. But it also means that certain foot pegs, like this one here, will be covered up by the turret, like so. I gotta plug it in there because it's actually kind of a little harder to plug it into this section because this clashes with the details here. But yeah, it's just harder because it just clashes with completely covers up. Sorry, it gets completely covered up by the turret. And here with the flagpole, it just completely gets not sure covered up. More just there's not enough space to fit a figure's ankle, more just foot in there. Because with their heel, it can work with like female figures because their heels in general, the feet are just a lot thinner, skinnier, in general smaller, which means that they can fit in there a lot easier. But with male figures, like for example, Zodiac here, it doesn't really work that well because their feet is much bigger and in general just doesn't really work that well. Just barely fits on there. Besides that, it's overall like a really nice playset and general display piece. Obviously, there's another like gimmick, like most Master Universe playsets, except for the Turner playset, kind of. Again, you have to close it up for this part. You can carry it like so, with this little handle here. The original toy had it as well, and also both Snake Mountains and kind of the Eternity playset, kind of, because technically the Eternity playset has like something weird somewhere where it's just kind of just put your fingers through here like so. You can hold up like that. But it's not more like clunky, because it's not like, for example, the Castle Grayskull module where you can put your fingers here again and it works fine, or the Snake Mountain, Snake Tower playset where you grab onto the snake itself like a giant hook, works like so. In general, most of the playsets or most modules, etc., have the carrying handle, but Castle Grayskull, in my personal opinion, is the best one when it comes to its execution as a carrying handle. Besides that, you can do a lot more with this playset other than just what is included. As I mentioned earlier, there were also more modules. Obviously, the big like module here, that being the extended dungeon, that those included with the Secrets of Castle Grayskull set, which I don't have, but it was pretty cool, and to say the least, that the extended dungeon and more emphasize its size in general, its play features, including its new feature, which is a giant tentacle. That is. The only problem with it is that it also made it a lot harder for it to just not really be stored, just in general, just still got too much, and it was just too much. It was just too much for the playset. Because again, although yes, it is a upscaled and a lot bigger version of Castle Grayskull compared to the original one, it's still like just too big. It's just too big. Besides that, you can do a lot more cool stuff here and there. That being other modules that are included in other playsets, more or less just vehicles and animals, or just creatures. In this case, I can't remember his name with the Talon Fighter. I believe it's put the name of it here. Let's put the name of it here. I just legitimately can't remember it. Also, it has a Castle Grayskull, not only sigil on the space plate, but also Castle Grayskull's just rocky texture all over it. So that means you can have it plugged in almost just there, just slide in there into the playset, which is pretty cool. So the problem with this vehicle was that it kind of just, It both works a lot better, was in tandem with the Talon Fighter because of their bird themes, but it also just works a lot better when it comes to being associated with the just Castle Grayskull instead of the Eternia Palace Guards, because they got the Sky Sled, which is a lot more just fitting for the Palace Guards than this and the Talon Fighter. Another vehicle that is a lot more associated with the is associated a lot more with the Palace Guards in terms of the Eternia Guards is the Strider. Now, the Strider is interesting, to say the least, because this is carried over with the Night Stalker, with its little stable. It's not similar to the texture and general details of the Snake Mount playset. When it comes to the Night Stalker stable, that is, which is pretty cool. And similar to the Night Stalker, or previously, because the Night Stalker was repainted 2 years after, almost at least 2 years after, than the Strider. Which makes sense, because the Strider, if you don't know, was kind of the death of poor Master Universe vehicles. Which is why we usually get one vehicle every year now, instead of like a whole lot. Which sucks, but it happens when you make so many Striders and just nobody wants them, because again, Striders more is a very limited vehicle. So really be, or more, can really be used for like 3 people. King Randor, Fisto, and Geldor, who comes like the new mini comics, where he has shown with this type of Strider. And maybe some Eternian Guards, but they're kind of pushing at that point. Besides that, the stables can basically just be slot in to the Cosmos place like so. This will require you to remove your Strider from the stable like so, and it just slots into the playset like this. Very simple, and it's kind of like probably the big reason why it's actually the playset's raised off the ground, unlike the original one, where it's firmly planted onto the ground with no raised sections, etc., which is cool. The only problem with it is that it kind of gets very crowded when you do have all these modules connected together, or inside the Castle Grayskull playset. There's kind of the big problem with it, that yes, it is a cool concept, it just is too much. Because again, going away for you to fit all that in there, is you to have the Castle Grayskull playset be fully spread out, which is okay, but does mean that it can be very much more likely to just topple over like that, which is not a good idea. But what I usually just recommend is either just having the dungeon, the Strider stable, and the not the Talon Fighter, but you know what I mean, that vehicle. Put name of it here again. Just here, just those 3, and have the Talon Fighter and Point Dread up here. That is it. I don't recommend anything more, because all the ability to have the Striders to be there to add support to Talon Fighter and Point Dread, in general, just becomes too much. Besides that, that's mostly it for this review. I don't have really that much to say other than most of the other parts of the playset, because again, that's mostly it for Castle Grayskull. It is a simple playset, but it is very nice. It has a nice presence and nice general just look in your collection, especially with the origin version, which improves a lot off of the original one. Mostly just in size and play value, because yes, you lose some of that play value because it doesn't come. Most places doesn't come with that much accessories. You still get a lot more, because for these additional foot pegs, you can put more figures in there, and not only that, those figures can generally stand up and be there on display, which is awesome. Even with the added fact that not even mentioned that this various add-on bits here and there from the various other modules, from the various vehicles or creatures, and even little 2-packs with the Power He-Man and Battle Cat, Basguard versions, whatever. Super cool, super cool. Besides that, I do recommend it. Other than that, because again, by itself, very nice playset. Very, very nice. Especially since it was my first big playset, since I didn't really have that many other playsets when I first got it. Other than just the occasional Lego kind of like playsets or whatever. This is kind of was my first like big forte into like those really big playsets. So yeah, it was like impressive. Didn't really help out that it was also like a Christmas gift. So yeah. Besides that, that's all for this review. If you're curious, unlike Snake Mountain, is a lot more readily available and it's also a lot cheaper, which is awesome. I recommend getting it from Amazon. You can, because there's a lot more available, more prevalent on Amazon. It's practically not like Amazon exclusive, which is okay. Besides that, that's all for this review. Like, comment, subscribe. And happy Thanksgiving! This year is going to be very interesting for me when it comes to Thanksgiving. Because I'm making like a lot of pies and a lot more stuff, which is going to be awesome. I'm curious, what am I thankful for this year? Having all this. Having all this to compare with and having all this to review or just talk about. Which is still the most craziest and awesome thing to this general collecting business. Besides that, that's all for this review. I have nothing else to say, and other than that, I shall hopefully see you next time.